watching TAG TV.
Good evening and welcome to South Asia Newsline. I'm Lipakshi Khurana. Here are the top stories we're tracking for you on Monday, the 19th of November. Indian Prime Minister launches metro expressway projects in Haryana province. US Special Envoy to Afghanistan hopes for peace deal with Taliban in 2019. And devotees marry plant and fossil shell to mark Hindu festival in India. And now for all the details. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi on Monday inaugurated an expressway and a metro rail corridor in India's northern Haryana province. The projects are expected to facilitate travel, decongest traffic and reduce pollution.
Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi on Monday inaugurated the Kundli-Manesar-Palwal or KMP Western Peripheral Expressway in Gurugram city of India's northern Haryana province. The expressway is expected to decongest the road traffic from New Delhi, especially the number of heavy vehicles entering the Indian capital, and will help in reducing pollution in the city. Besides, the project will also give an uninterrupted high-speed link for traffic, especially commercial traffic, from Haryana to the neighbouring provinces.
So, expressway, economy, environment, ease of living के साथ ही ease of living की सोच को भी, ease of traveling की सोच को भी ये गति देने वाला है.
The Prime Minister also inaugurated a nearly 2-mile-long Ballabgarh-Mujesar metro rail link, which will facilitate travel between New Delhi and Haryana's Faridabad city. Commuting will be easier for over 200,000 people after the opening of the corridor of the Delhi Metro.
US President Donald Trump has once again defended his administration's decision to pull hundreds of millions of dollars as military aid to Pakistan. In a media interview on Sunday, Trump said Pakistan does not do anything for the United States and accused it of sheltering terrorists.
US President Donald Trump on Sunday defended his administration's decision to stop hundreds of millions of dollars in military aid to Pakistan, saying the country does not do a damn thing for the United States. The US President made the remarks in an interview to Fox News, which was aired on the American news channel on Sunday. He also accused Islamabad of sheltering former Al-Qaeda chief Osama bin Laden. Relations between uneasy allies United States and Pakistan have frayed since Trump in January this year accused Islamabad of sheltering militants who staged attacks in Afghanistan. Following his statement, Washington also announced suspension of all military aid to Pakistan for its failures in tackling militancy in the region. Pakistan has, however, maintained it has sacrificed a lot in the war against terrorism and is being used as a scapegoat by the US for its own failures.
Moving on, protests were held recently by Baloch students across Pakistan's Islamabad and Karachi cities in solidarity with the families of Baloch missing persons. The protesters highlighted that Pakistan has been using enforced disappearances and extrajudicial killings to muzzle dissenting voices in Balochistan.
Baloch students in Pakistan's Islamabad and Karachi cities carried out protests recently in solidarity with the families of Baloch missing persons. The students demanded the immediate release of thousands of Baloch and Pashtun activists who they claimed have been kidnapped and are being tortured by the Pakistani army and the inter-services intelligence. They also blamed the judiciary and government for failing to take notice of the alarming situation.
हम आज भी यही अपील करते हैं कि जितने भी बलोच मिसिंग पर्सन है उनको जो है कोर्ट में लेकर आए और उनका कोर्ट फैसला करे। अगर उन लोगों ने कोई गलती गुनाह किया हुआ है तो उनको बाकायदा सजा दें। अगर किसी ने कोई गलती नहीं किया है, कोई गुनाह नहीं किया है, तो उन बेचारों को क्यों पिछले 5 साल, 4 साल, 6 साल, 10 साल से वो ISI के टॉर्चर सेल में बंद हैं।
Baloch activists have long blamed that Pakistani forces use extrajudicial killings and enforced disappearances as means to muzzle dissenting voices in Balochistan. They have been protesting worldwide to seek help from the international community and human rights organizations.
In news from Afghanistan, U.S. Special Envoy to Afghanistan Zalmay Khalilzad has said he hopes for peace deal with Taliban next year. The ambassador, who was in Kabul to lead talks between the U.S., Taliban and the Afghan government on Sunday, said he hopes the presidential election date in 2019 would be used as a deadline to achieve the peace agreement.
Special Envoy to Afghanistan Zalmay Khalilzad on Sunday said he hopes to cement a peace deal with Taliban insurgents by April next year. Khalilzad, who was in Kabul to lead talks between the United States, Taliban and the Afghan government, said he hopes April 20, 2019, the presidential election date, would be used as a deadline to achieve peace agreement before then. The Afghan-born U.S. diplomat said the aim of the talks would be peaceful and a successful Afghanistan, one that doesn't pose any threats to itself and to the international community.
I hope that the Taliban and other Afghans would use the election date as a deadline to achieve a peace agreement before then. That would be my hope. I think that would be the hope of Afghans as well, because the sooner we get peace, the better it will be.
Khalilzad, chosen by the U.S. President Donald Trump's administration, has been meeting top Afghan government leaders and Taliban representatives to find ways to end the 17-year war in Afghanistan. The insurgents, fighting to expel foreign forces and defeat the Western-backed Afghan government, last month presented demands to Khalilzad that included a timeline for the withdrawal of the U.S. troops and the release of Taliban fighters from jails.
More on news from Afghanistan. Commander of the Afghanistan's National Army Health Department has said the casualties among Afghan National Army soldiers have risen sharply this month. This comes as Taliban has launched attacks in several strategic locations across the country.
Commander of Afghanistan's National Army Health Department Major General Abdul Raziq Siyawash has said that casualties among the Afghan National Army or ANA soldiers have risen sharply this month as compared to the last month. This comes as Afghan security forces tackle Taliban insurgents on multiple fronts across the country. Afghanistan's Deputy Minister of Defense Iqbal Ali appreciated the doctors and surgeons for working day and night to treat the wounded personnel.
موجودیت برگ درخت‌ها و موجودیت باغ‌ها و سطر اخفا برای طرف مقابل این همی سبب شده که تلفات ما زیاد باشه.
Afghanistan's Interior Ministry had also confirmed last week that there has been a sharp rise in casualties among security forces in the past few weeks after Taliban insurgents expanded their attacks on multiple fronts. The Taliban recently launched its attacks in some strategic locations, including Faryab, Uruzgan, Ghor and Farah provinces, resulting in heavy casualties among Afghan security forces.
India has opened its first hospital for elephants in Mathura town of northern Uttar Pradesh province. The hospital is armed with high-tech equipments including digital x-rays and advanced tranquilization equipment. A respite to the elephants in the country, the hospital is also attracting locals and the foreign tourists.
India's first hospital for elephants has opened its door for the long-trunked mammals in northern Uttar Pradesh province. The hospital on the banks of river Yamuna is close to an elephant conservation and care centre run by Wildlife SOS that is presently home to 22 elephants. The place is equipped with high-tech equipment such as digital x-rays and advanced tranquilization equipment.
So I think by building a hospital, we are underlining the fact that elephants need welfare measures as much as any other animal, that captive elephants are not meant to be used and abused, but instead have to be given the respect which an animal needs if you're going to be using the animal.
After the mammals recover from long-term medical procedures and critical care at the hospital, they will be transferred to the Conservation and Care Centre. Elephants in India, numbering about 25,000 in the wild, are an endangered species. Although revered as a cultural and religious icon, they are also hounded when they wander into human settlements, damaging crops and homes and trampling people.
A week-long theatre festival was recently organised in India's northern Jammu and Kashmir province to revive the culture of theatre in the region and create awareness among the youngsters about its age-old cultural and traditional values.
With an objective of reviving theatre activities in India's northern Jammu and Kashmir province, a week-long theatre festival was recently organised at the Tagore Hall in Srinagar city. Several theatre groups hailing from different parts of the province participated and enthralled the audience with their performances during the event. The theme of the festival was displaying the Hindu epic Mahabharata. The event aimed at creating awareness among the youngsters about the cultural and traditional values of Kashmir through theatre.
हमारी जो नई पौध है वो बड़ा इसमें इंक्लाइंड है, तो इसमें आपने देखा कि हमारे बड़े ही अच्छे जो यहाँ पे हैं जो फनकार हैं वो यहाँ पे आए। उन्होंने हालांकि यहाँ पे एक बड़ा है एक हार्ड थीम है महाभारत को पेश करना और उसमें जो मॉरल निकलता है उसको पेश करना, इसके बावजूद उन्होंने जिस खूबी और जिस अंदाज से उसको पेश किया वो वाकई मुबारकबाद के काबिल है। और उससे यकीनन जो हमारी नई पौध है या हमारी यहाँ पे है जो थिएटर से वाबस्ता है उनकी हौसला अफजाई होगी।
काफ़ी अच्छा लगा और काफ़ी नया सीखने को मिला, क्योंकि काफ़ी बहुत यूनिक टाइप का प्ले था। आज हिंदू रिलीजन का था, तो काफ़ी चीज़ें मिली हमें सीखने को महाभारत के लिए।
Kashmir has a rich history of theatres and arts, the roots of which are rooted in 3,000 years before the birth of the Christ. The period of 1966 to 1977 is considered as the golden period in the history of Kashmiri folk and modern theatre.
Scores of Hindu devotees across India on Monday gathered on the banks of River Ganges to take a holy dip on the occasion of Prabodhini Ekadashi. The day marks the start of the Hindu wedding season in India.
Thousands of Hindu devotees across India on Monday gathered on the banks of River Ganges to take a holy dip on the occasion of Prabodhini Ekadashi, the 11th day of Kartik month of the Hindu calendar. According to Hindu beliefs, it is the day when Hindu preserver god Lord Vishnu wakes up from a 4-month-long slumber. As part of tradition, women perform the wedding rituals of Tulsi or basil plant, which is considered holy, with shaligram, which is fossilized shell form of Lord Vishnu.
ये जो है भैया चातुर्य मास के बाद ये भगवान विष्णु का बहुत बड़ा पर्व है। आज 4 मास जब वो निद्रा अवस्था से जागते हैं तो उसको देवोत्थानी एकादशी कहते हैं। अब जब तक वो सोए रहे सभी शुभ कार्य हिंदू धर्म के अनुसार सब बंद था। अब वो अब जगह हैं, आज तुलसी विवाह होगा, उनकी शादी होगी, तो सभी शुभ कार्य हमारे आपके घर में फिर प्रारंभ होगा। शादी विवाह मुड़न छेदन गृह प्रवेश वगैरह जो भी है।
Meanwhile, similar scenes were witnessed in India's northern Allahabad city, where people thronged to take a holy dip in Triveni Sangam, the confluence of the Ganges, Yamuna and Saraswati rivers. According to Hindu mythology, Tulsi holds special significance to Lord Vishnu. The wedding ceremony, called as Tulsi Vivaha, is done annually on Prabodhini Ekadashi and also marks the inauguration of the wedding season in India.
Well, that's all we have for you from South Asia this evening. Now our viewers can watch the show on SouthAsiaNewsline.com. You can also visit us on Facebook.com/SAsiaNewsline and follow us on Twitter @SAsiaNewsline. That's all in tonight's edition. We'll see you same time tomorrow. Good night.